Got it. All right. Got it. Done. All right. I'm going to see if I can try one more time. Well, I want to see if I can get the chat over here. See there's my thing. But I got to pause it. Anyway, sorry, folks. Oh, let's let somebody else in there. That's all right. Anyway, maybe I'll mess with this later. Yeah, it's buffering or something. I'll close that. Close. Come on. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Not Just This with Don Garland and myself. Please keep your microphones muted until invited to speak. After a brief introduction, you can raise your hand or you can type in the chat. If you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to jump in. And this is being broadcast on YouTube. So by sharing, you are giving consent. And so, yeah, we invite you to turn on your camera and unmute yourself after the introduction and ask a question or just make a comment, share something. But basically, this meeting is about non-duality and integration. And not just this, because it's pretty open to covering the human condition as well, the everything and the no thing, all the appearances, whatever this might show up as, which could be anything. It's not limited. It's not, somebody mentioned the lottery earlier. It's, it's not, since there is no one, this is not an exclusive message for any group of people or any select people. It's all there is. And there isn't even a message. It's just saying this no thing being absolutely everything, all appearances, every thought, every apparent separate object is this one no thing, appearing as all things. And that's the unconditional love, the unconditional acceptance. And it's the beauty of it that there's no limits. There's no authority. There's no cause. There's no effect. There's no subject. There's no object. There's no better. There's no worse. There's no meaning, no purpose. It's just what seems to be happening. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But with that, I will pass it to Don Garland, please.
Yeah, like that. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, just being where you are, because there is no you, but just seeing that everything is love is literally mind-blowing, because it's seen without filters. It's got nothing to do with filters. It's beyond filters. It's beyond the mind. So this is just coming home in a sense. The ways to kind of describe this aren't this, but nevertheless, it's nice to talk about it in such ways. So there's the experience. As the experience of this, it's seeing everything for the first time. So there's this freshness, newness. There's this peace. It's just coming into where you are. So out of the struggle, out of the mind, and seeing the stillness in everything, which is visual, which is absorbing. It's intoxicating in a very, very quiet, gentle way. So this is because it's so always now, like it's not even now, it's there's no kind of sense of shock, in a sense. There's no kind of sense of celebration is the wrong word, because it's just so natural. It's natural, and yet it is astonishingly beautiful. So problems may arise, but you're not living through that. So they can, yeah, they will happen. There will be struggle. You know, life involves change. It involves difficult things, but it's just not. You know, the identity with that has fallen away. So it's very simple. Life is very simple. It's very straightforward. It's you are where you are. You're not where you're not, and so in a sense, we talk in stories, but there is no story. But you know, stories continue, but again, you're not living from that. So there's this utter simplicity, this total acceptance of the self as well, the human condition with all its kind of idiosyncrasies, all its whatever it has. It like that's where authenticity comes in. It doesn't necessarily make you authentic, but there is an acceptance of all that's arising, like that seems to be there. So in the internal world, in the psyche, and it's when this happens, which it never happens because nothing has ever happened. But in this so there's a joy in meeting the other, and there is no other to the other. So that kind of collapses as well. So you're relating differently, relating beyond the mind as well. So that there's a beautiful intimacy to that. The intimacy with everything is just there, and there's no one to be intimate with anything, but nevertheless, it is all intimacy. It is all love. It's and it takes the sting out of suffering, out of death, which isn't to say that, you know, the shit can hit the fan in anyone's life, of course, but, and yeah, very often it, you know, this can be kind of you really want to rest in this when this happens. There's a tendency to do that if that's possible, because in the sense that you've probably never been able to do that. Human beings struggle so much with doing nothing. Doing nothing is the most natural thing in the world. So there's a real flip over to that. Like it's just very natural just to sit, and that's it, just to sit. I mean, you don't need to say anymore because everything's beautiful. That heap of rubbish is beautiful. Sky is beautiful. The trees, everything's perfect in a way that's beyond understanding. Also, it's just the perfection. It's the scene, and everything that could be no other way. So it's but yeah. So I think that's kind of all I want to say at this point. Maybe
All right. Thank you. So we can open it up for questions or comments. All right, we have a question from Petra Cooks. It says, can you talk about not knowing? Not knowing. You want to say anything about not knowing, Don Garland?
Well, there's no one who can possibly know anything. I mean, knowledge is born of the mind. This is beyond the mind. So there's just kind of what's happening. I don't know what else to say about that. Walter. But it's falling into not knowing. Yeah, it's because we don't know what any of this is. I mean, as well. I mean, it's, you know, unknowable too, isn't it? So
Here he comes. Well, we can talk more about it. He's coming in now. Oh, she's coming in now. Do you want to ask your question? You want to say more about that, Petra?
Hi.
Yeah. They said that it's the me who thinks it knows, and if there's no more me, there's no knowing, and I still think I know what's going on, and yeah, it seems as long as I'm somehow trapped in the story, there's always this knowing, and you would maybe say there's no knowing as there's no one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really confusing. Sorry.
Is a kind of freedom in that, I suppose, you know, because it's beyond that. And why is that question important to you then? Like,
Because I always find myself in whatever's happening, kind of knitting a story out of it. So to everything that's happening, there's a story attached. So and that often makes it really complicated or sticky, whatever's happening.
but that's okay too, because that's what we do. I mean, that's what the mind does, right? I mean, we are story creating beings, you know. It's not like, I mean, it's not like anything changes in that sense. It's just like the identity drops away. So there's the freedom from the self, like it's just not owned by anyone. So I mean, stories continue, they're just not my story, you know, and you know, they are what they are, you know. It's not like, you know, they don't have the same reality to them, but
yeah, then comes my story and the ownership. Yeah, that I think I know everything about my story, or what.
but
Mm.
yeah, but the story is important too. Like, I mean, we live from that. I mean, the human being that exists in the timeless and the formless. I mean, if you ignore the story, then you can end up in a real mess, a real psychological mess. You know, it's really important. And it's not to say that people, you know, once this has happened, you don't ever get caught up in something. I mean, that's nonsense too. You know, like,
Okay.
you can really be affected by the story. I mean, you're not immune. In fact, you're just more open and more vulnerable. So it's just the identity isn't there. So there is this kind of, it's just a different kind of, it's actually really hard to explain, because I mean, there literally isn't anyone there or anyone anywhere, but yeah, I'm really into stories. I work with stories, and they're so important for your health and your well-being and fun and relating and, you know, you name it, like, so, you know.
So yeah, Chris, I also heard it's the end of our relationship. So, and I'm also confused about that. I don't know, as there's no one,
But
relationship also happens.
yeah, because I mean, you okay, so you're speaking from the absolute point of view there. There is this kind of, and I know it's not exactly like that, but to speak in terms of the relative experience, relationships, of course they do continue, and they're very, you know, like, important, because that's kind of all we have. You've disappeared and or you've gone boy. I mean, yeah, it's not as it sounds, just like seeing the beauty in everything is not aesthetics. It's not about things looking better. The natural beauty is there, and, you know, stories that everything's there that was there before. It's just experienced differently. And relationships exist. There's that experience because it's the timeless. It's experienced as, you know, you're with someone you're in a relationship with. You're more there when they're there, and, you know, you're more, you know, what goes in a sense, because you're not living from ego in the same way. It's you know, it's constantly, it's just now kind of experience is the best way. I mean, Walter, would you say relationships exist? Like, I mean, like, is the no pressure?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Well, what specifically, just the end of a relationship? Oh, Daryl is coming in hot. There we go.
No, luckily
I mean,
not.
Oh, you're back.
Luckily there's no end of the relationship. I had that a lot, but
All right, okay. All
right
right.
now I'm happy.
All right. Is that if you got any further questions or?
I'm sorry, please, Walter, go on.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, sorry, you waiting for me? Just what's going on? I don't know what's going on.
what's that? I don't know. Maybe I'm not getting the question about what you asked about relationship.
Yeah, I think I asked it some weeks ago already. How our relationships when the me fell away. So I mean, they're obviously still our relationships, but no one there, not from the point of me. So
Yeah, well, I guess the way I look at it is that there never was anyone there. You know, so you don't need a me to have a relationship, you know. Because all these stories and adventures, you know, there's no one in that anyway. It's just what seems to be happening, you know, and it's not in anyone's control. There's no one in a relationship. There's no one relating to someone else. It's just this one appearance of separate people. But it's just one
yeah, I think that's
outpouring of, you know,
but
love for.
no one's relating. That's, wow.
But it's still personal as well. Like, it's personal and impersonal at the same time somehow, I think. And, you know, that vulnerability is there, so it's undefended. So it's, I don't know, relating is in some ways better, in some ways it's different, because there's nothing to grab hold of in a sense. It's like there's nothing to add to you, there's nothing to be gained from anything. In a sense, it's kind of innocent in that way. Like it's freedom expressing itself in a relationship. I don't know, like it's kind of normal, but it's not. Like it just is, you know. But it's nicer, I think, you know. But then it depends who you're relating to, doesn't it? Like with, or like, I don't know. But it's not what you think it is. It's just life goes on, like it just does, but it's just experientially different. It's not like, I don't know, whatever you think you're thinking, it's not like that. I just, you know, I don't know, I just know. Yeah, because I wouldn't want to hear that. You know, like when I was a seeker or something, I wouldn't have wanted to hear that, because that would have sounded awful to me, but it's not what it sounds. It's really, it's good, it's rich, it's, you know. Because the personality continues, you know, like, and there's a personal element to that, and those stories are immensely important. They really are, you know, and so it's personal love. It's really important, you know. It's not, you know, what's going on for you, like, what do you want to say some more, or?
I think I've always felt maybe more vulnerable than the people around me, and I think it's getting worse.
Okay, so huge sensitivity, like
oversensitive. So, and yeah. In the weekend, there was a situation, and I again, like so often, felt overlooked somehow, and I felt so stupid, but yeah, couldn't help it. So yeah.
Are you feeling quite separate at the minute then, or?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll do it. Like,
yeah.
It's, yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's so frustrating. So, wow, again, so separate, but so much me.
does the message, the non-dual message, make it worse for you hearing it? Like,
In the beginning, it was so comforting. Of course, wow, it's not, whatever is happening, it's not my fault. I've never done something wrong. I've never done something right. It was, I was really, it was a big relief. Yeah.
And now?
No. And now I'm still fascinated, but now I'm always comparing. Okay, is there more me, less me?
Oh, no. Okay, right.
I think the me still tries to get something out of the message. So
yeah, it's,
I don't, or think, or maybe there's something I can do to feel better. So I find myself back in the old pattern. So more and more, and yeah, the longer I listen to it, but in the beginning, but there was so much resonance. Yeah, and I came from I was 20 years on a Buddhist path, and wow, I was so happy. I don't have to meditate anymore, and it's yeah. Nothing has, yeah, it's already done. So that yeah.
So maybe that's it. Like when you kind of get into it, it's freeing, and then it's like people get stuck, don't they? And there's so many more interesting things to do, like have relationships or go out for dinner, or I don't know, whatever. Like, but it's, yeah, I mean, it doesn't free you, the message, in the sense, like it, like say initially it does, but then it doesn't, because the mind tries to make sense of it and it just misinterprets it. And actually, really, life is normal. You want the same things you wanted before. Well, maybe there's a shift in that because
Not really, yeah. It changed somehow.
yeah, well, maybe there's a shift in that because there's a kind of clearing for that, maybe. So
Maybe,
but
yeah.
you know,
There's a lot of things I'm not interested anymore, and it feels good. So there's still is, I think there's still seeking energy, but not as strong as it was before.
okay. So you're not watching so many YouTube videos? You're like, or
Not at the moment. Of course, it's yeah. If it happens, it happens. But if not, I can't make it happen, even if I would listen 12 hours. But yeah, I listen a lot for a while, but yeah, no, it's like it is. I still enjoy to listen, but not that intense
right.
listening anymore. Yeah,
Okay. But
yeah.
it's just a bad patch. You're having somehow, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you very much. We have a question in the chat. It says, main me question, how do we create when there is just appearance, not real, cause and effect, no time, but growth?
Mm.
Not sure I get that fully. Well, it's like in a dream, you know, the dream analogy is a pretty good one. So it's like in the dream, how do you create when it's all just a dream? No cause and effect, no time, but growth. You know, it seems like there's growth in the dream. Seems like there's time, cause and effect. Some things are real, some things aren't. But then it's seen as just all a dream. So yeah, within the dream, there can be growth. There can be the appearances of all kinds of things. So that, I don't know, that's how I look at that question anyway. That, what do you think, Don?
Well, I would say don't try to ignore cause and effect. So like I would, yeah, I mean, this is reality. This is real and unreal, I suppose. Yeah. And so, yeah, I like the dream analogy too, but yeah, we create the same way you create. I mean, it's just happening, isn't it? And growth. And of course, there's stuff we do consciously, stuff we do unconsciously, but it's all just happening. It's, yeah, so nothing changes on that level. Growth, but you're not in control of that. Nobody is, particularly like when it comes to growth. I mean, that's, there's no one who can make anything happen in a sense, but at the same time, you could be intelligent and know kind of what needs to be done to kind of open the doors to that somehow. But yeah, something like that. Mhm. Mhm. And growth may or may not be important, like after this as well, because in a sense there's that acceptance. So some people will, some people won't, care about that. Yeah. So, like,
Yeah, it's tough to answer the how questions and the why questions.
yeah.
Well, anybody else, just feel free to jump in.
And so on one level, talking about this is a kind of joke. Like, I mean, there is a real shift. It's not, again, you could just say that's a story, but it's, I mean, life just goes on. It's experienced differently for sure in the timeless, whatever, but it's, yeah, any idea that this will change you somehow, like it's just, it's kind of wrong-headed somehow, you know, well, the same things are important, you know, kind of, they are and they aren't. I don't know, it's just,
Well, along those lines, Anna Cindy says, is this just a meaningless game? Is this just a meaningless game?
well, meaning is created, isn't it? It's created by the human, the personality. So the seeing of non-duality is like saying that there's nothing needs to be added to this. So in a sense, any kind of, you know, you can look for something meaningful, you can look for a meaningful relationship, a meaningful work, you can look for all these things, but like life is enough. So it's not coming from a place of lack. So that's a, you know, and the whole existential thing of, you know, this search for meaning, search for, you know, all that kind of collapses in a way, because it's like you don't need it, but you will probably be moved at some stage in some direction or other, like to, you know, it's not like you become random, but you might, you know, it's enough to sit on your arse. Like it is in a sense, but there may come a stage where you want to live and bring your life into alignment with this somehow as well, in a kind of normal human sense. But yeah, it's just that. I mean, the very search for meaning means that seeking's still there, because this is enough. This is full. This is rest. So this is fulfillment. So that kind of answers the question in a sense. You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah, say, is this a meaningless game? I mean, there's no one playing a game. There's no one giving meaning or taking meaning away. It just is. And it's just, you know, the love of being. It doesn't have to be anything. It just is. So it just loves to be.
Yeah, and even
Seems to love to exist, you know, to be an appearance in the first place. That there is even a life story. Seems pretty incredible.
and game sounds kind of almost malevolent, because there's just this, I don't know, safety in this and the kind of trust in this that kind of comes with it. I think just, I guess that's where like the fear of death kind of dissolves in this. And not to say it couldn't arise at certain moments, or, you know, in a certain situation if you're facing something, but, you know, yeah, it's more simple than that.
Catherine, do you have a question? Okay, game is just another concept, says Simon. Hello.
I didn't realize I was unmuted, sorry. Just some, hi Petra. Hello, Walter. I actually watched one of your YouTube recording. I think that was with Daryl and I forget a crowd. Nice to meet you, Dawn.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, just so it was live and you could access it. So
Absolutely.
So, you have no questions? There's a
Are you still dead, Catherine?
Sorry?
Are you still dead?
No, I don't know. Who would be dead? I've no idea. I don't have a clue what that means. And so it's strange. It's just strange.
What is strange?
Well, yeah, at some point there seem to be some experiences, you know, of the seeing something that wasn't seen before, or dropping, I don't know.
Like a kind of
But-
glimpse, you mean? Or
I don't know.
are you not curious about it? Or
I just can't, everything is just experience as it is.
right?
The questions don't tend to form. Yeah, it's not finding the questions really.
So it sounds like something is fallen away then, so to speak. You know?
Yeah, brain dead.
All right, okay, that sounds good. That sounds right. So since when then? Or you know, you don't like talking about it. I don't know. Maybe.
No, it's been quite a long time that I don't have sense of time anyway. The sense of the past or the sense of the future, it seems to be long gone. And
Okay.
I can't say when that went. I'm not sure if there's someone here or not. They're just speaking, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I still see people as people, and in a way it doesn't even come to my mind if there is someone there or not, in me
Okay.
or in other people. So it might be that life still sees this as a person, and then what? You can't do anything about it anyway, you know. So.
It doesn't really sound like it. Like, I
I
mean,
mean, I can, like Petra was saying, you know, life, you know, about being too sensitive or oversensitive.
uh-huh.
I think in a way there's no escaping what happens. You know, when there's with me, I can wake up in the morning and I don't necessarily feel like getting out of bed, and I can feel quite down, and I'll have the thought, I need help, like a recognition that maybe I need help, you know, mentally or emotionally or whatever. But there's no reaching out to anyone. There's no reaching out. It's just that, and then life carries on, you know.
So no reaching out because there's just.
It just doesn't happen.
Okay, all right, okay.
The reaching out just doesn't happen. There's just like.
Is that falling away? The kind of.
No, it was probably never there.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yes, even as a child, it was probably never there. There's yeah.
So there was never really a sense of self to begin with. There was an openness, maybe from.
No, there's definitely a sense of self, because you feel, you know, you feel afraid, you feel separate, you feel different from others, you know.
That doesn't mean. But that's normal personality stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as my mother would say, like, I didn't go to preschool because I was so sensitive, but I would spend hours in the quiet, just being by myself.
Okay.
And then suddenly I would just go off, even young, I would just go and roam down the streets.
Right.
But it seemed normal to me.
Okay. And you say it with a big smile on your face. So it's like, it was a good experience. So,
Well, I can't even say that was an experience. It's just the
Okay.
way this character is built, I guess, you know.
okay.
And again, I could never plan. And, you know, often as a teenager, you ask, oh, what do you want to be? Yes, I wanted to be a star.
Uh,
You know, TV programming and all that sort of thing. But I just had passion. So I loved English language, music and dance, and life seemed to open doors to do those things. There was no planning. There was no, you know,
son.
and I've never been successful.
You probably didn't.
You know,
care.
never reach a success. I'm too lazy for that, you know.
Okay, so there's no drive there as well. That's interesting. So,
I think that there was a drive. So, I
Okay.
mean, I love dancing. That dancing was my passion, but I could say I was driven in
okay,
different ways, but
but for the sake of it rather than for the success. I mean, that's just a
no,
no, okay.
yeah, no, I would have. I think I would have wanted recognition. Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
okay, right.
Yeah. That was there definitely.
Okay,
So that spoiled the joy, because there's always this idea that am I being watched? You know, if I got my audience. And yeah, you're looking for approval and recognition.
well, recognition is innocent. I mean, what's wrong
Yeah.
with looking for that? If you're driven that way and that's your passion, why wouldn't you want that would be,
Yeah.
you know.
The English are not very forthcoming, though.
Oh yeah, okay. So like, yeah,
They're not very forthcoming. You know, the only time I had recognition of talent is by kids.
okay. So
You know, because they're open to just say what they think and what they feel.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you were never identified then, like somehow. I mean, that's just what it was like to me, but
Yeah.
you know, like just a flow.
But maybe that's why you always. I felt lonely a lot of my life, because you're with people who don't understand. You know.
Oh yeah, it's isolating in that sense.
Yeah.
And it's quite rare to have that. I mean, there's not many people who never develop the identity. Like it is rare. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's identity,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, right. Okay. That sounds good. But
There was one point in my life there would have been a lot of stories, you know, getting over heartbreak and, or you know, so you would, and that there's no story. Generally, there's no story unless you're sharing with someone. You know, I lost a sister when I was young. They want to know about it, and so you have feeling rising with a seeming memory. But then there's also the sense, did that ever happen? You know, it's but there was at one point, it was just the story, you know.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Completely trapped in the story. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there was identification there, because it sounds like you're just putting it in your own words to me, just being true to your experience.
There's also the sense, did that ever happen?
You know,
That's me. It's an echo.
right.
Anyway, I better shut up, and other people want to join.
It was interesting talking to you.
Nice meeting you. Yeah. And I've got your fellow. Sorry, I forget names. I've got 2 books you know, I wish you were dead. And
Richard Sylvester.
Richard, yeah, I've got 2 of
Yeah.
his books, which I got. Yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
nice chatting.
Yeah, nice chatting.
All right. There's a question from Betty. She says, hello, everyone. When the meditation prayer are seen as useless, it does feel like free fall, nothing to hold on to, but free falling. Not really a question, but I don't know. I don't know if I would say useless, but what do you think?
It's really hard to tell what she's getting at with that. Like, when the meditation prayer seems useless, there's just free fall. Like, I don't know. Is that like, when does it feel useful? Does it feel useful? Like, when does it feel useful? Like,
Well, you've mentioned heartfelt prayer and
oh yeah.
so it seems like there are times when it just spontaneously happens
Oh
on
yeah.
its own.
Yeah, I suppose in a certain emotional state, it's very, very particular, and I think a real genuine emotional state, and it is correlated with, it's certainly correlated with energetic experiences. I mean, they seem to, heartfelt prayer precedes a lot of energetic experiences, and I don't know about glimpses or anything else, but it can be quite powerful. Yeah, meditation, and of course, I suppose, yeah, useful. I mean, I suppose it is inherently useful, right? And in life, like, because it creates more equilibrium. You know, you may not want to do that after waking, you might. It depends how much mind stuff is left, or I don't know, or what are you doing it for? But yeah, I mean, plenty of people do before and after. I don't know. Do you meditate all through? No.
I actually haven't in some time, but I will say there seems to be some kind of a conversation going on.
Can
You
you?
know, that I would say could be like prayer, yeah, where there's sometimes a comforting voice that says things to me, and you call it what you want, you know, could be my own mind, my own conscious, but seems like, you know, I don't know, but I would call that prayer or conversation with
How frequent does that happen? And is it?
it's fairly often, but it came after, you know, I guess a realization that everything comes from within anyway, that I can't get anything from external things from, you know, in other words, the love comes from me, from here. It's generated from here. It's not given to me from some external source. You know, I always like to talk about the Wizard of Oz, you know, you had it all along. The wizard didn't give anything to the Tin Man he didn't already have. So in other words, so this conversation is internal, and I don't necessarily think it's a higher part of myself or God or praying to anything outside, but all thoughts and all voices in the head, you know, don't come from me, that because there is no me. All there is this divine voice, you know, but I hear it, and it's seems very supportive and encouraging, and you know, that kind of stuff.
Is it kind of like in your own, I mean, does it express itself in the way you would express yourself, or is there a difference? Is there a feeling with it as well? curious because
Yeah, well, it feels like, I would say once when I did this experiential therapy and was like, the adult me was communicating with the child me.
Mhm.
It's almost like that voice.
right, okay, but loving, caring,
Yeah,
supportive,
exactly.
but other somehow like it's not I think you know when it's not your, is it like a thought or like a voice then, or is it hard to say?
Just seems to come in at the right times and say the right things. I don't know.
That's nice. It's pretty good. It's like being reparented, that's what it sounds like. It's like somehow.
I'm parenting myself. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
I'm still doing it. Maybe that's what that voice is.
Maybe you should teach that and make a fortune developing the
Self-parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Betty also says, always seems like prayer and meditation, I was trying to get something for me.
What's wrong with that? Like,
Yeah, what's wrong with that? But also, the meditation, popular meditation, are ones that have no objective. Not even necessarily to be present, but just like Zazen, just to stare at a wall, or just to sit with what is, with no objective. Not even to not get lost in thought. Like if that's happens, that's okay too, It's doesn't have to be about getting something.
kind of impossible though, isn't it? Like it is asking the impossible of someone that like, because but anyway, because if you're not looking for that, then it's all over, isn't it? I mean, if you're just staring at the wall, well, it could be a bliss state, I suppose. You could be in a bliss state and just be staring at the wall without any agenda, I suppose, without awakening. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Hmm. All right.
I definitely want something out of my meditations and my prayers. I don't do them for the hell of it. Like, yeah, it is a reaching out somehow,
What about a prayer of gratitude?
Yeah, but that's beautiful too. But then people get lost in that, and it's like, okay, I can't ask for anything for me, like whether awake or not awake, and the whole thing of me. But like, like again, it like seems like minimizing your suffering. Like, what the hell, why not like reach out, like, okay, to no one, to oneness, to God, whatever it is for you, and because you're suffering or because you want something, like what is, I mean, it's like that is fine. I mean, that's just normal and it's human. And I think to deny yourself that is, I don't know, it's shame in a way, really, because I mean, I do. I mean, I don't do too many, gratitude's there, like, but I don't want to make too much of a fuss about it. Like, I'm not going to make a prayer, but well, I mean, there is nothing wrong with that, and sometimes that opens people up. It does open their hearts sometimes. I don't know, loving kindness meditations, and don't they? I mean, they have a power too sometimes. So I'm not knocking any of that stuff, but for some people it will change something. But
Yes, sometimes you can just enjoy to pray. I mean, I don't want to get something out of it, but sometimes it's nice to pray a rosary. Why not? Just, of course, it's a nice ritual.
yeah, and it's very intimate, isn't it? It's incredibly intimate, that, and it's different than any other communication. So there is something sacred about that, whether anything happens or not, or it feels like I don't know. It's a beautiful space to be in when it's really real, I think.
Yeah, and where I live, it's close to a monastery, and yeah, to pray it in the community, it's just makes me
nice.
shiver. Yeah,
Right,
it's
okay.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about groups, like the group meditation. I never thought of group prayer. I've never
Mm.
done that, but yeah, group meditation or even two people meditating, it
Mm.
can be profound, can't it?
All right, we have some comments here. Alihio says, without saying everything is meditation, these types of meetings seem like some kind of meditation. Any thought? Without a goal. Yeah, absolutely. Without saying everything is meditation. So he said, that's an answer I cannot use to answer this question. These types of meetings seem like some kind of meditation without a goal. Definitely. Because you could just say there's being present to this meeting and what arises in this meeting and what's being said. And sometimes I drift off a little and then I come back and, and just whatever comes out of my mouth and whatever's being heard. But there's just, I don't know. Yeah, definite loving presence to being with and making space for this meeting and what's being shared here. So, and it's like also like say formal meditation where you're carving out the time, I made time for this, sit, be present with what arises in the hour or hour and a half. Yeah, and there's no objective to this meeting. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. I don't have any thoughts that anyone's going to be any different after the meeting. It's just, as cheesy as it sounds, to be here now. Of course, well, anyway, I won't go there, but that's enough for me on that one. Don, what do you think? The meeting being a meditation in itself?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is or it isn't, but yeah, I don't know. Well, just on what you said, I mean, I think there's a freedom in that includes everything. Well, maybe not assholes, but like it includes like, I think there is just a freedom because there's no restraint on the human experience, like because this is everything and nothing, right? It's the appearance, it's all of it, and it's kind of nice to move with that rather than feeling you got to talk from the absolute all the time, because life is just, it's all of those things. It includes all of it, and it's just easier. I think I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know whether it's a meditation or not, but it certainly can be.
Hello, Daryl.
Hey, hello.
Nice to see you, Daryl, although I can't see you, but nice to hear you.
Oh, can you see me now?
No,
No. Okay. You know who I am, but can you see me now?
I do know who you are, but no, I want to see you. I saw you the other day. That was
I
nice.
know. I
You
don't
had
know
a-
how the hell to do it. Anyway, I had a question for Petra. Is she
Okay.
still around?
Yes, she is. She's here. Go for
Okay.
it.
Hi, Petra. When you pray, to whom are you praying? Anyone else can answer that too if you do pray. To whom are you praying? Or to what?
Well, hmm. I can't really tell you. I mean, I come from a Christian tradition, and as I said, I was I was in a Buddhist past for 20 years, and now I'm living on a close to a monastery, which is more Catholic. I think I don't pray to God like an old man with a white beard. It's just to the loving principle somehow. I can't put it in words. I'm sorry, but it's when the ritual is a Christian ritual right now. I don't know, could be any other thing, but I think not Buddhism anymore. And I wouldn't say I'm a Christ or a Catholic now, but just the ritual is very familiar, as I know it from the childhood already, and it just feels good and comforting. And I like to do it in the community. But I wouldn't say I'm a serious member of the group, because there are some things in the Catholic Church I wouldn't say yes to. But but you asked whom I'm praying to. I can't put it in words, but it just feels good to pray. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't expect anything from it. It's not that as a child I was praying, please, please, please make this or that happen. I don't do that anymore. I just enjoy the atmosphere. Yeah. And then there's something. What is it in this Holy Mary or Holy Father, which I like somehow. Yeah.
God, I pray to so many, like God, Jesus, Mary, saints, people who have passed. I mean, I'm not saying that exists. I mean, it's unknowable what this is, but all the archetypal energies, all the, sometimes it's just, like I say, sometimes just an intimate conversation with someone I've lost, like along the way, or I keep my options open. Sometimes I branch out. I don't know, like there's a real taboo against praying to God. But it's an intimate thing. So it's got to be, like, okay, it could be oneness, whatever, but I don't know. It can be intensely personal for me, prayer, in the impersonal, because that's what this is, but it's all oneness, like I'm not, and the rest of it's unknowable, but so what? I mean, pretty everyone, like I would say. Yeah. What about you and Darryl?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Like Petra, I have a Christian background, a very deep Christian background. And so when most of my life, I prayed, and then I was praying to either Jesus or God, or a combination of the both, and not just praying aimlessly. We were taught to pray when you want to see things change, or if you want power to change things yourself, then you pray to this higher power. So, and for me then as a Christian, it was God, it was Jesus. Now, after having the shift, for lack of a better word, whatever you want to call this new perspective, this new level of consciousness, I have a different take on it. I don't feel that I'm necessarily, prayer still happens. It happens for me throughout my day, every day. It's not that I sit down and say, let me pray. In my mind, in my spirit, in my body, in whatever this is, prayer happens throughout the day. I can have a thought that's really negative, or something that annoys me, and immediately a prayer will come. It's not like I say, oh, let me pray about that. It instantly happens. So it's not an option for me. That's why I was so curious for other people. When you pray, what does it mean for you? Because for me, it's not even a decision. it's like it's a part of breathing. And I
Well,
guess that may be, that deep Christian upbringing that I had, and the times that I spent in prayer like that. So I guess it's maybe hard to shake, because now it just happens without me even thinking about it.
do you want to shake it?
No, I actually don't, because I find some comfort in it, which is wonderful. And I can't explain it, but after I've prayed, if I'm worried about something, or something has occurred that has caused me some sort of alarm, and the prayer happens,
Uh-huh.
instantly there's a lessening of whatever that anxiety was, or whatever that fear was, or whatever that concern was. I can't explain it. And I don't pray for it necessarily to change it necessarily. I used to when I was the solid Christian. Now the prayer just happens, and there's some soothing, there's some relief that happens as a result of that activity of prayer happening.
But you don't want to change, so you don't pray for it to change. Is it just sort of this? I mean, you don't have to go into it, but are you just kind of describing like what's upsetting you, or what's going on for you? Or I'm just curious. Like,
No, good. No, I just want to understand your question. Are you saying when I pray, why am I praying? Is that what you're asking me?
no, you said you weren't praying necessarily to change things.
Right.
So, like, are you just describing things when you pray? Like, say you've got a going through something. Like, what is it?
Okay. For example, let's
Uh-huh.
say that a couple of weeks ago I had a cyst removed from my temple area, right?
Right.
And so prior to going into having that removed, there was some anxiety, quite naturally for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know
Anyone?
if it was cancerous. I didn't know anything about it, but I went in to check. But prior to going in, there was some concern, some
Yeah.
fear. All right. So I didn't say, "Oh, Daryl, let's pray about that."
Uh-huh.
Instantly, the prayer happens. And the prayer
Oh,
is, yeah, it just says, the prayer is like this. It's not like I'm figuring out what words to say, but it's like everything is going to be okay. Don't overanalyze. It's things like just statements, almost like, don't overanalyze this. Don't worry about it. This is good. This is not a big deal. This kind of thing happens all the time. So I don't even know if that's a prayer. But these things come to me, and I call those prayers. I don't know, because I'm not making myself say them consciously.
so it's like you. Is that like you, Walter? Then?
Yeah, it sounded something like what Walter was saying. I
Yeah,
think.
that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Just spontaneous. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's really interesting. I've never heard. So it's two people saying. I've never heard that before. I mean, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, what's beautiful about it for me, Dawn, is that, and I've tested it, because now that with this new level of consciousness, or whatever you call this shit, because back when it happened, when I would pray as a Christian,
Uh-huh.
that's all I knew. That's all I knew to do. It was automatic. I would automatically do it every day throughout the day.
Right.
Now, what's so comforting is that I don't have to think about, should I pray? Like Walter, this thing automatically, instantly happens. I
Wow.
don't know what that is. So I welcome it now. It's like I'm glad it happens. And what's comforting is that I know that in my most anxious or worried or fearful or scary moments,
Uh-huh.
I don't even have to think about what I'm going to do. It happens automatically.
Okay. Wow.
That assurance, or that feel good feeling, or whatever it is that I need at that moment, it shows up.
Wow.
Call that God, call that whatever you want to call it. It shows up. And it's not that I sit down in a seance and try to create it. I don't turn around in circles. I don't blow smoke. It instantly happens. And so for me now, that's very reassuring, because I've seen it happen over and over again. And so, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's reassuring. That feels good.
What were you like as a kid then? Like, were you in touch with anything then? Were you kind of like a spiritual kid, if you know, just for want of a better word, or?
Yeah, I was raised in the church and was very connected at the age of, I think, 13. For those who had understand Christianity, I confessed myself to Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
So and was raised in the church and came up as a Christian. So yeah, and so up until the age from 13 to 55, I was the strong, deep praying Christian.
Right.
And then at 55, everything turned upside down, and here I am.
Sounds awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. That too. That too.
I don't know how awesome it is, Dawn. It just is what the hell it is.
Yeah, yeah. But it sounds good. Anyway.
All right, let's see. We got something in the chat. That sounds like faith. Yes, no.
Yeah.
A letting go and knowing that it's all going to be okay. Yeah, I don't know about the faith part or letting go necessarily, but there's definitely an okayness there, a knowing that everything's going to be okay, but not a separate sort of me having faith in or letting go of. It's just an okayness.
Out of curiosity, Daryl, I don't know if you want to come back. What would you say about that? Maybe he's not
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I'm here. Pretty much what Walter's saying. It's very much an okayness. It's not like I have control over what's happening or I know what's about to happen, but there is this very, very reassuring, confident, knowing, feeling, okayness that ultimately, whatever the hell, whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm feeling at that moment, there's something that's sitting right there beside it saying, but you know, for real, everything is okay.
But that's
I
kind of
literally hear that in my being.
okay. You hear that? Okay, so for me, that's just kind of there. Like I don't have what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of there. I think that is the awakening. I mean, it's just interesting. It just sounds beautiful. The voice that reassure, that's something else as well. Like it's slightly different, isn't it? So it's just interesting because that's a reassuring voice. A voice has an impact, doesn't it? We respond to words. So that's like, I don't know. To me, it sounds quite powerful. To you, it's kind of normal. So to you both. So yeah, because this is okay. I suppose, yeah, non-duality is kind of okayness, isn't it? So I suppose no. But
Yeah.
faith. Yeah. Faith. Yeah, though faith does imply a gap somehow to me, I suppose. But maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, nothing wrong with faith. I don't know.
Yeah, Daryl, what do you say about faith? Just you said what, 55 years you had to have faith, and you also were a minister.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, everything was based on faith for me coming up as a Christian. It was all about faith, believing in a God that was higher than you, that loved you, but then also a God that had very, very human-like characteristics. Okay, so this God can get angry, and this God can punish you if what you've done, warrants that. So I also had that type of understanding of faith. But ultimately, because of Jesus, then I'm protected. I'm ultimately okay. So I was raised with that type of faith, and it was just anyone that knew me would describe Daryl as having very, very strong, unusual faith. Listen to him. He's got it. And so I came up believing that everything that I believed in terms of my faith was as real and as solid as it could be. That's why this shift was such a dramatic thing for me, because it just turned everything upside down. Everything that I knew was true in my core to be true isn't. And that was just, that wasn't easy to deal with. So now faith is still a part of my life, because it has been a part of my life most of my life. I think I don't know how to step outside of it. I still feel like, although I know that this may not make sense to the non-dual community, but I still there's a part of my Christianity that is a very real part of whatever this is. Mm-hmm. And unlike a lot of people who get angry and at Christianity or their parents or whatever, I see that as a part of my experience as a human being. That's what happened, and that's what got me to where I am now. So although I think it's bullshit, I don't believe in the religion and all that now, but I don't regret it, because it was a very vibrant part of my life. I enjoyed going to church. I enjoyed singing in the choir. I enjoyed ministering and preaching and teaching. Loved it. Now it doesn't make any damn sense. So I'm just kind of like, wondering about what to do with all that now, but it still is very much just a part of me, as it always has been. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Do you feel like cast adrift then, or like, are you doing something else, or do you not know, like, have you lost your kind of, I don't know, direction, like, or you just don't need a direction, or because that must have given a lot of meaning when you had that, right? You were identified and stuff, or
I lost all of that, Dawn. That was so confusing. All of that strong foundation and all of that the rug was pulled from up under me, and to this very moment, I still find myself angry. So there's a part of me that's angry about that. That I feel like I've been misled. I've been deceived. That whatever this loving God that I thought existed didn't love me enough to let me know the real motherfucking deal. That's how I feel.
That's awesome. I mean, it's awesome to hear you say that. It's so awake. It's so, like, you're just seeing, it just sounds like you're seeing really clearly, like, that conception of it. Like, that's awesome. I mean, I love
Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't feel, again, it doesn't feel awesome to me. It feels like, it is what it is. But I have this running dialogue with, I don't know if with myself, with something, but it's a daily ongoing argument with this. And I guess we can say God in this case, whatever this is. I something's arguing with this about this. It's like I want to know why in the hell I can't know what I am. I want to know why in the hell. Yeah, I don't know what this is, and I don't believe anyone does know. I don't care how much talking we do. I don't think anyone knows what the hell this is. And so I feel like I'm kind of angry that I found myself in a reality that I can't even speak to. I don't even know what I am. I don't know. All I know is that I've been told is that this dies, that this ends. That's all I've been told. I don't even know if that happens. But there's this ongoing argument about, I want to be clear about what the hell this is, and why am I not clear about it?
Oh,
Why am I not clear about what I am?
that's a brilliant question. I just like, there's not, like so many people are so repressed. It's so awake. It's like so alive, and you're so in touch with that. Like, I just think, yeah, well, why wouldn't you feel that? Like you just sound like you're seeing very, very clearly. Like, it's really interesting, actually.
Wow. That's interesting that you think it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I just do, because I haven't heard anyone talk like that, like, in that way.
Really?
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not awake in the non-dual, I mean, really psychologically awake, aware, and in touch with yourself. And then, yeah, why wouldn't you be angry if you're really in touch with that? Why wouldn't you be? Of course you would be, but
Yeah, you're right though, Dawn. You're right. I'm sorry not to cut you off, but I never really thought about it that way. I never thought about it as being in touch with myself. I'm always at odds with it because I'm so angry and so upset that I don't think that I'll ever have an answer to that question. But I think it's a more positive look at it the way you just said it is. Yeah, that maybe it's a way of looking at that I am more in touch with myself. I like the way that felt when you said that. I've never thought of it that way.
okay.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
It's interesting. It's just interesting. Like, yeah, interesting journey.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. And just in the interest of time, we have 2 more hands raised. So I'll jump in with Joe K. J-O-K. Get your hand up. All right. How about
Hello, can you hear me?
oh yeah, go for it.
Hello. Sorry about
Hello.
that.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I've been listening and I'm intrigued with everything that's been said. And particularly Daryl talking, and yourself as well, Walter, about the kind of words coming in and whatnot. So I've had those kind of experiences, and I'm new to this non-duality. I've only come across this in the last week or so. So I'm curious and I'm trying to fathom out, learn a bit more of what happened to me. And I think the word would be perhaps some sort of shift, certainly, in 2019. And so the talk about, what the prayer just coming in, or as Daryl was saying, comforting words and whatnot. So I'm wondering whether there is a difference between awakening and non-duality. In terms of my experience also has been about, especially in the early days, it's almost as if words of wisdom would just come up, depending on what situation was going on or dynamic, and so that is what I experienced quite strongly. Is that more about awakening? Because I've also have kind of read up about channeling, source, all that sort of thing, and I wondered whether that was a difference between awakening and non-duality. I just don't know. I'm trying to make sense. If anyone can help me.
Great question. What do you think, Dawn?
Well, so, I mean, I know that in like Kundalini awakening, words of wisdom can appear. They can appear visually. They can appear literally. They can appear in, at the beginning of a near-death experience, which is the same kind of energy. I don't, so I don't think it's dependent on anything. It could happen around awakening as well, just like an image can appear, like the non-dual shift, like Eckhart Tolle. I can't remember what he saw, but he saw something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that, I think Gopi Krishna got a lot of, like, the Kundalini stuff got a lot of words appearing, and I know Yvonne Castle, she heard a voice when she was when her plane flight was about to crash, and she was going into, just before she had the NDE, I think she got words and stuff, like, yeah, but it was I don't know about the rest of it. I haven't read about it.
I'm just interested, I suppose, and I think I watched your video just a couple of days ago. You were interviewing, chatting with the guy who had the Kundalini awakening.
Oh, Haley Sansfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
But after watching that, no, that isn't the awakening that I had. Definitely not a Kundalini awakening. Which is, I'm kind of just dabbling at the moment with watching various things. I've got a bit of time, and I guess in a way what I'm beginning to learn is that we all have a different experience of some sort of awakening, non-duality, and it is definitely related to something of our background. It's a very unique experience to every individual, and it is related to our previous life, as to what manifests really after the awakening. It's quite unique for everybody. Everyone speaks about it slightly differently, or like Daryl's experience now, and his relation to religion, for instance, previously. That's very unique to him. And so the prayers that are coming up, just from nowhere almost, but just coming up automatically, that's also due to, I'm guessing, his life before. And I'm just trying to make sense of it. So I'm interested from that point of view, really. So I just wondered whether you had any more. And also I'm interested in meeting other people who've had awakenings, because it's just nice to talk to people who understand what's occurred.
Yeah, I just, I guess I just see it as all voices and all words are divine, if I can use that word,
Yes.
and holy and sacred and whatever you want to say. But they're all coming from the same place. That there isn't a source necessarily, but there's not like a higher place or a place of wisdom and then a lower place where thoughts come from. They come from the same place, no
Yeah.
place, the same no thing. Yeah, so that's the beauty. So words of wisdom, it's been called an unlearning or an unknowing. So it's not like I have these greater or deeper insights. It's just sort of more of a letting go of old beliefs and attachments, and like they say Santa Claus a lot. They use that analogy, seeing through the illusion of separation, that there's someone that needs to communicate with a higher being. This is God. This is the higher being.
Yeah.
My thoughts are God's thoughts. The voice that I hear speak, my internal dialogue, that's God's voice.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. So but it was always that way. I guess the belief in the illusion of separation, that this negative self-talk and this kind of stuff. Anyway, that's something that I would say came about as with the realization, the seeing that all the thoughts are the same.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no hierarchy in illusion, as the Course in Miracles says. But anyway, we're at run out of time here, so I just want to thank everybody for showing up Dawn and I decided we're gonna do this once a month. And so we hope you'll join us next month again for not just this. And stay tuned to this channel every Monday for a different interview. I'm not sure who's next week, but should be good, I hope. Anyway, I know Dawn's got a lot going on, a lot of speaking engagements you want to tell people about?
So on this Friday, is it this Friday, the 23rd? Yeah, in the Philadelphia Association of Hampstead, I'm doing a talk with Richard Sylvester. And I think the week after I'm doing you need to check my meetup. Check my meetup up because I'm doing one on my own the week after, and I think I'll be hopefully doing one with Hamish Stansfield the week after that. And yeah, so yeah, and yeah, I think something like that.
That's right. Check the meetup, and this meeting will also be on there. So we'll confirm what we'll have to email and make sure we're on the same page with when the next one is.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, but yeah, we'll keep these going, and just want to say thank you, everybody, and see you next month. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you,
Yes.
Walter.
Bye-bye.